A beautiful start of the weekend to you all. It is another news rendezvous on the Cameroon Radio Television. Welcome to our latest bilingual edition. Hello, Nicole.
Hello, Emmanuela.
You have the news headlines.
Madame, Monsieur, bonjour. À la une de l'actualité ce midi, le monde entier cogite sur l'avenir du globe terrestre. L'action de l'homme menace sérieusement la survie de la planète. La 48e journée mondiale de l'environnement célébrée aujourd'hui met un point d'honneur sur la biodiversité, une source de préoccupation à la fois urgente et existentielle. Vous entendrez les explications du ministre Hélé Pierre au sortir d'un point de presse à Yaoundé à ce sujet. Éclairage avec l'invité du journal, Rigobert Ntep, directeur du Centre international de développement de l'environnement au MINDEP. Le point focal biodiversité sera en plateau. Et puis, il faut avoir recours aux langues locales pour atteindre les populations dans la lutte contre la pandémie du coronavirus au Cameroun. L'exemple de la caravane de sensibilisation des jeunes volontaires de Lobo dans le centre nous intéresse ce midi dans la page magazine. Voilà pour les titres. Madame, Monsieur, d'abord ce message de sensibilisation anti-Covid, puis les premiers développements en langue anglaise.
Each of us must comply with the measures that have been taken.
Other 150 countries worldwide are today observing the 40th edition of the World Environment Day on the theme Biodiversity, a concern that is both urgent and existential. The low-key celebrations in Cameroon due to the spread of the coronavirus pandemic has seen the Minister of the Environment, Protection of Nature and Sustainable Development, Hélé Pierre, in a declaration state that protecting the environment is protecting our source of life. Here now is an excerpt of the Littoral Regional Delegate for the Environment, Lemnyoy Williams. He spoke to Joyce Kimbi Forward.
At this point when we're celebrating the World Environment Day, these single-use plastics ordinarily are made of plastics, and when you're disposing of it, it is like any other plastic, it is going to increase the amount of plastic we're already having in the environment. We'll be encouraging first that if you're using a single-use plastic like those used in the hospital and you want to dispose of it, you make sure you pierce it so that somebody else doesn't use it. That we want to encourage many at this period, and in order to protect biodiversity, to dispose of their mask in a plastic bag and put it where they have to, the waste is collected by the waste company. Because what we are mostly seeing is people disposing of it, littering these face masks everywhere.
Cameroon, one of the countries in the Congo Basin, is said to possess practically all the flora and fauna of tropical Africa. Today, natural as well as human actions like pollution, wrong disposal of waste, climate change, uncontrolled mining and more are said to threaten biodiversity. As the country observes World Environment today, it is a clarion call for each Cameroonian to partake in saving the environment. Alice Mbe has more.
Pollution and disposal of waste products and carbon dioxide can be a problem to the human system that can lead to natural disasters such as dryness and violent storms. This can equally lead to new diseases and inhabitable environments. Air does not only contain oxygen, but also contains other substances and particles which are poisonous to human organs. Chemical products and malpractices carried out by humans on the environment can also pollute the air, which can also lead to malpractices in futures. It can also affect the water sources, thereby reducing the quality of animal products and vegetables. For these reasons, there is a need to protect our environment in order to be safe and obtain pure air for respiration. The environment consists of several life elements, such as animals and plants, which have the same rights as humans. People nowadays treat themselves with essential oil found in nature. We need our environments to live. They need to limit the pollution and exploitation of natural resources.
Environment experts in the Northwest region have cited limited grazing and farming land encroachment on water catchment areas and poor waste management as factors responsible for the rapid depletion of biodiversity in the region. The Northwest Delegation for the Environment, Protection of Nature and Sustainable Development has been partnering with local administration and local NGOs in a way to redress this trend. Ola Titanki completes our story from CRTV Northwest in Bamenda.
Pre-conflict statistics in the Northwest region indicate a population of close to 2 million inhabitants squeezed within a surface area of less than 18,000 kilometers. Limited land for man and animals results in illogical encroachment into water bodies. The Northwest Delegation of the Environment, Protection of Nature and Sustainable Development has partnered with the region's development authority, Midino, whose general manager details an extensive tree planting exercise to preserve the ecosystem.
Last year, we distributed over 6,600 environmentally friendly trees to farmers for agroforestry and water catchment protection. This year, we shall be stepping it up to 11,500 trees.
The Northwest Regional Delegate for the Environment says his delegation has dissolved its powers of waste management and control of marshy areas to local councils.
We have also linked up with the councils for the drive, the control, seizure, and fines on plastic packaging below 61 micron.
Despite these concerted actions, environmental experts have pointed to a lack of collaboration from the population. They expect the population to improve on their waste management mentality, limit farmer-grazier conflict, and avoid deforestation.
Merci de nous recevoir chez vous. L'avenir de l'univers plus que jamais au centre des attentions. Ce 5 juin est Journée mondiale de l'environnement 2020 marque un arrêt pour réfléchir sur la biodiversité, une source de préoccupation à la fois urgente et existentielle. Il est question d'encourager gouvernements, entreprises, célébrités et citoyens à concentrer des efforts sur un problème environnemental urgent. Au Cameroun, pas de festivités comme c'est souvent le cas en raison de la pandémie du coronavirus. Juste un point de presse au cours duquel le ministre de l'Environnement a relevé les menaces qui pèsent sur le Cameroun. Je vous propose de suivre les explications de Hélé Pierre au micro de notre reporter Rodrigue Bertrand. Tuez-nous.
L'exploitation du dernier rapport sur l'état de l'environnement au Cameroun en cours d'édition nous indique que l'environnement de notre pays subit de sérieuses atteintes d'origine naturelle ou anthropique, tels que le changement climatique, les inondations, la sécheresse, la désertification, la déforestation, les pollutions multiformes, l'érosion côtière et fluviale, avec de nombreuses conséquences sur le bien-être des populations et l'économie du pays. Le Cameroun, pays du bassin du Congo, qui constitue l'un des poumons de l'humanité, n'a pas encore atteint la cote d'alerte. Mais il est urgent d'agir et de prendre dès maintenant des mesures pour assurer à notre pays et aux générations futures un avenir heureux et durable.
Nous l'avons dit il y a quelques instants, le thème de cette 48e édition de la Journée mondiale de l'environnement est la biodiversité, une source de préoccupation à la fois urgente et existentielle. Au moment où notre environnement subit les assauts répétés de l'homme, voici le regard de notre reporter, José Gaëtan Tchanga.
Plusieurs problèmes mettent à mal l'environnement. On peut citer la pollution de l'eau par les matières plastiques, des sols par des produits chimiques, de l'air par des gaz tels que le monoxyde de carbone, l'oxyde d'azote, l'épuisement des ressources, la disparition massive des espèces végétales et animales, l'épuisement de la biodiversité, le réchauffement climatique. La principale cause de ces problèmes est l'homme qui, de plus en plus, laisse son empreinte sur l'environnement pour satisfaire ses besoins et améliorer sa condition de vie. Pour sauver l'environnement, il faudra donc changer de comportement. La pollution est l'un des plus graves problèmes environnementaux. Diminuer les activités polluantes et encourager la production biologique en respectant le management environnemental et la protection de l'environnement dans les activités des entreprises. Il faudra aussi éviter l'épuisement des ressources, promouvoir le recyclage et le traitement des déchets. Cela pourra entraîner la réduction des besoins en matière et permettra de limiter les déchets et le rejet de carbone dans l'atmosphère. En outre, il faudra également restreindre la destruction des habitats naturels pour sauvegarder la biodiversité, interdire la chasse massive des animaux en voie de disparition.
We've now been joined on set by Mr. Rigobert Nteb. He is the head of the Department of Environmental Data and Environmental Documentation at the Ministry of Environment, Protection of Nature and Sustainable Development. He's our guest on the Midday News. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, madam. It's
Glad
a pleasure
to have you on our set.
It's a pleasure being
Today
with you.
is the 48th edition of the World Environment Day, celebrated on the theme Biodiversity, a concern that is both urgent and existential. Why this clarion call?
Well, this is a concern that is urgent because biodiversity is being threatened mainly by human activities. It is existential because our life rely on biodiversity. For instance, the food that we eat, the water that we drink, the air that we breathe, the medication that we take when we are ill, all these come from nature. So it's existential, and I said it already, it is urgent because there are many threats on biodiversity.
Now, can we know Cameroon is being placed as one of those richest countries in Africa when it comes to biodiversity? What are some of these actions posed by man and nature that are threatening the existence of the environment?
Well, a study carried out within the framework of the Convention on Biodiversity has identified 5 key threats. These are climate change, invasive alien species, destruction and partitioning of habitats, pollution, and of course overexploitation. These are mainly the threats that are posed to biodiversity.
And in Cameroon, how serious is this threat on our environment?
Well, let me take the example of invasive alien species. You will recall that there was a reportage that was broadcasted on TRTV on Lake Osa that is being threatened by a certain invasive species that is called Salvinia molesta. We do have also many other species. If you see the River Nyong, for instance, the Vuri River, all these water surfaces are being threatened by invasive alien species. Now, climate change, we are also living in a place where we see climate change issues on the biodiversity. We also have partitioning of habitats owing to the fact that we need to develop our country, and therefore we have some infrastructure that are being built. By so doing, we partition and restore some habitats.
So now tell us, we heard the Minister of Environment a while ago saying that protecting the environment is protecting our livelihoods. You and I as Cameroonians, what are those actions we need to undertake on a daily basis to save the environment?
Well, these are the actions that are being carried out within the framework of our ministry. You will recall that our country is party to the Convention on Biological Diversity that was ratified in 1994. And this convention has 3 pillars, namely the conservation of biodiversity, the sustainable use, the access and equitable use of the benefit arising from the exploitation of genetic resources. All the actions that are being carried out in our nations aim at pursuing these 3 pillars of the convention. For instance, in terms of conservation, you will recall that within the framework of the Ministry of Wildlife and Forestry, we do have some protected areas that cover almost 20% of the national territory, which is one of the actions that was previewed within the framework of this convention that I mentioned a while ago. So this is one of the actions that we take. You remember the sanctuary on animal as well as plant species. You also recall that for the exploitation of some resources, some measures are put in place to make sure that the resources are exploited, and there is a time frame provided for to make sure that there will be a replenishment of those resources. So these are some actions that are being carried out.
Okay, sir, I know your ministry is doing a lot to solve this problem, but this celebration is falling in a context that we all know, marked by the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. Right. And one of the problems you raised was pollution. Now, how do you people get Cameroonians to better dispose of waste, especially the one linked to the protection against coronavirus, in order to avoid disturbing the environment?
Well, what we are advising, we have to distinguish two types of waste, those coming from hospitals and those coming from any normal citizen. And those coming from hospital must be handled according to the management plan of waste that they are supposed to have validated. That these are special wastes that have to be managed in a special circuit. Now, those coming from a normal citizen, just like you and I, for instance, if you have your face masks that you want to eliminate, instead of putting it in a dustbin, a normal dustbin, what we advise is you keep it in a plastic bag for at least 1 or 2 days, time for the virus to get destroyed before you eliminate it in a normal circuit of waste management.
Mr. Rigobert Ntep is the head of the Department of the Environmental Data and Environmental Documentation in the Ministry of Environment, Protection of Nature and Sustainable Development. Thank you very much, sir, for coming.
My pleasure.
You stay with us. We continue this time to talk something else. Hundreds of Cameroonian civil servants are currently being screened for COVID-19 at the Multipurpose Sports Complex in Yaoundé. The free screening exercise organized by the Ministry of Public Health intends to enable people know their status and by so doing break the chain of contamination. Let's now join our reporter Baldwin Sama, who is live from the Yaoundé Sports Complex. Hello Baldwin, what have you been hearing and seeing?
Indeed, the turnout is impressive. Many Cameroonians wish to know their status. That's why they turn out here massively on a daily basis to have themselves screened as far as COVID-19 is concerned. As you can see directly behind me, you see many of them who are seated under those different tents, anxiously waiting for their turn for them to answer the many questions that they will be asked by a team of health professionals made available here at the Multipurpose Sports Complex. And when upon arrival here at this other screening center, they are being received by some doctors who give them some modalities as to what they need to do before they are being received under particular tents here. And I should say, we have tents that are divided, some for staff or for some parastatals or some administrations here in Yaoundé, and other tents reserved for ordinary Cameroonians. And I should say that we have those of the middle age, those of the elderly, and the younger ones who are equally here to have themselves screened and equally know more about their status. And we have 80 health professionals put at the disposal of this screening center here at the Multipurpose Sports Complex, and they have there were other particular health professionals whose role is simply to have this environment disinfected on regular basis, given that most of those who are here to have for themselves screened are potential COVID-19 carriers. And they say they work here from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. and you can see the anxiety, the eagerness on the faces of these many Cameroonians who've turned out here at this Multipurpose Sports Complex. And they say this exercise is going to continue for several weeks to permit most of them know their status. And talking about knowing their status, upon having yourself screened here at the Multipurpose Sports Complex, you will either know whether you are COVID-19 positive or negative when you must have received an SMS from the screening center. So that's the situation here at the Multipurpose Sports Complex. The screening continues here.
Thank you very much, Baldwin Sama, for those updates. We now go over to the Cardinal Paul-Émile Léger National Center for the Rehabilitation of Persons with Disabilities that has received anti-COVID-19 gifts in order to protect those living in the center. The gesture is from Cameroonians in the diaspora. As you tell us, Gerard Nanje.
Persons with disabilities, officials of the National Rehabilitation Center for People with Disabilities say, are more vulnerable to COVID-19. reason why some Cameroonians in France, Italy, Switzerland and Canada thought it wise to donate anti-COVID-19 kits to these vulnerable people at this rehabilitation center in Yaoundé.
We are here today to bring our support to this center because disabilities persons are also a part of the society, so we cannot forget them in this fight against COVID-19.
The donation ceremony, a blend of color and symbolism, was another way to demonstrate the spirit of patriotism, even far away from home.
We already have some of our patients here who are COVID-19 positive, who were tested positive for this virus, and who are being taken care of now. These things are going to be used, and it is going to help in the prevention of COVID-19.
This move, which is geared towards complementing government efforts, will be extended to Edea in the Littoral region on June 11, 2020.
We now take you over to Mindif in the Far North region, where the population are happy beneficiaries of anti-COVID-19 gifts. The gifts are from the Member of Parliament of that constituency, and they intended to make the population shield themselves against the spread of the coronavirus pandemic. Sylvester Atemkeng is in Mara.
The consignment, donated by the Member of Parliament for Mayokani North, Haman Choto, comprised 1,000 face masks, 60 cartons of soap, 120 buckets, and driver's licenses to some bike riders in the locality. While receiving the stock, the mayor of Mindif, Njida Vagai, thanked the donor for the timely gesture and reassured him that the population will make judicious use of the kits. As a recovered victim of COVID-19, the Member of Parliament also stressed on the importance of staying safe, while also demonstrating how to properly wash the hands, wear the face mask, among other things.
Through this donation, the message I have for everybody is that the pandemic is a reality and we don't know how we get infected. I was myself infected and I cannot really say how I got contaminated. So everybody needs to be careful and take proper protection as prescribed by the government.
He also enjoins the population to continue respecting government measures on the fight against COVID-19 to prevent the spread of the deadly disease in the locality and the Far North region.
Madame, Monsieur, merci de suivre le 12 heures sur la CRTV.
Le port du masque dans l'espace public restera obligatoire jusqu'à nouvel ordre.
Dans l'actualité aussi, ce vendredi, riposte contre la pandémie du coronavirus au Cameroun. Les tests de dépistage sont en cours sur le site du Palais polyvalent des sports de Yaoundé. Le site a ouvert ses portes depuis 8 heures ce matin. Prenons des nouvelles sur cette actualité avec nos reporters sur place. Évariste Eyenga, bonjour, vous avez l'antenne.
Bonjour, ce sont plus de 200 personnes qui se sont déployées ici à l'esplanade du Palais polyvalent des sports de Yaoundé pour effectuer leur test de dépistage de la maladie à coronavirus Covid-19. Il s'agit des personnels d'une administration, le ministère des Finances. C'est bien la spécificité de ce site de dépistage. Il est mis en place uniquement pour les personnels des administrations qui se succèdent au jour le jour. Pour ce jour, il s'agit du ministère des Finances. Ils sont un peu plus de 200, des personnes de tous âges. Il y en a qui sont déjà à la retraite, il y en a qui sont toujours en activité, il y en a à jeune âge également qui viennent pour effectuer leurs tests. Il y a deux types de tests ici pour des personnes qui viennent pour la toute première fois afin de découvrir leur statut, et aussi pour des personnes qui ont déjà été prises en charge, qui ont achevé leur isolement et qui reviennent uniquement pour le contrôle. Il y a plusieurs personnels du ministère de la Santé qui sont déployés ici, ceux du district de santé de la Cité Verte et puis ceux de la délégation régionale de la santé. Ils sont environ 4 80 personnels, des médecins, des infirmiers, des aides-soignants pour s'occuper des personnes qui arrivent ici au Palais Polyvalent des Sports de Yaoundé. L'entrée est filtrée, ça n'est pas pour faire de la discrimination, mais c'est pour respecter les mesures de distanciation sociale et aussi pour s'assurer de ce que c'est bien l'administration qui arrive ici au Palais Polyvalent des Sports de Yaoundé. Il arrive aussi que certaines personnes relevant de la communauté se présentent et aussi on peut leur effectuer des tests. Chaque jour, ces sites fonctionnent entre lundi et samedi à partir de 8h et les tests s'achèvent chaque jour à 15h30. Puis le personnel va tout simplement effectuer le nettoyage et puis la désinfection de ce lieu au départ et à la fin de chaque journée de travail. Alors pour le taux de fréquentation, ce sont plus de 200 personnes qui viennent ici chaque jour selon l'administration qui est désignée, qui est programmée. Palais Polyvalent des Sports de Yaoundé. Évariste Eyenga, Félix Nkomelone et Viviane Evina.
Merci à la grande équipe de la CRTV déployée du côté du Palais Polyvalent de Sport pour suivre cette actualité. Dans la région de l'Ouest, les âmes de bonne volonté appelées à se manifester dans la lutte contre le coronavirus invitent de l'autorité administrative là-bas dans l'arrondissement de Koptamou lors de la cérémonie de remise des dons anti-Covid du sénateur Ngangoubé Aminatou. Les détails dans ce reportage signé André Aristide Komba.
L'esplanade de l'hôtel de ville de Koptamou a mobilisé les représentants des différentes administrations choisies pour bénéficier des largesses du sénateur Ngangoubé Aminatou dans le cadre de la lutte contre le Covid-19.
Le président de la République a donné le temps et a ordonné à chaque responsable de s'impliquer effectivement à la lutte contre cette pandémie.
Du savon, du gel hydroalcoolique, des seaux-fontaines et des masques de protection ont été remis aux établissements scolaires, aux autorités religieuses, aux formations sanitaires et à la mairie. L'acte de générosité s'est étendu sur les populations en situation difficile. Elles ont reçu les frais de soins pour leur santé.
Nous avons rempli notre part de contrat social en leur offrant le matériel pour barrer le Covid-19.
Pour encourager le développement des activités génératrices de revenus, le sénateur a offert aux femmes couturières de la localité le tissu et tous les accessoires nécessaires à la confection des masques de protection fabriqués à Koptamou pour les populations de Koptamou.
Now over to the East region. The personnel of the Civil Status Registration Office for the East region have been trained on how to collect data relating to civil status documents like new births, deaths, marriages established and more. The training is intended to upgrade the skills of the workers for efficiency, as you tell us from CRTV East in Betwa.
The importance of civil status statistics in the development of every country cannot be overemphasized. Mindful of this importance, the availability of this civil status information in the East region still remains preoccupying. During the first phase of data collection, we had serious difficulties since the region is too vast and the time allocated for the assignment did not permit us to properly carry out the task. This workshop, under the watchful eyes of the Deputy Director of BUNEC, Ajaji Buka, seeks to harmonize data collection techniques across national territory for better results on the field. This training is based on 5 modules. We have as objective to harmonize data collection techniques so that all our agencies across the region can produce unique documents.
Des documents nationaux.
At the end of this 2-day seminar, it is believed that agents of the National Civil Status Registration Office, BUNEC, will have mastered new and easy methods of data collection and processing, which will in turn produce better results.
Autre volet de l'actualité, près d'1,3 milliard de francs CFA pour la cause de développement de Ntui, montant dévoilé au terme des travaux du tout premier conseil du nouvel exécutif communal piloté par Georges Marcel Mandon. Parmi les chantiers prioritaires, l'électrification rurale, l'entretien de la voirie municipale et les points d'adduction d'eau potable. Étienne Pascal Azegu, reportage.
Ils sont nombreux, les défis qui interpellent le nouvel exécutif municipal de la commune de Ntui.
La ville, chef-lieu du département du Mbam-Ekim, bénéficie certes des bienfaits des travaux en cours de la route Ntui-Lena, mais il reste l'entretien de la voirie municipale. Autre chantier important qui a retenu l'attention du conseil municipal, l'électrification du quartier de la prison, la construction des forages dans les localités de Kela, Koussé, Ombangdene, Yalongo et Djamé. Le compte administratif qui devrait couvrir ces réalisations a été examiné et adopté à l'unanimité du Conseil à hauteur d'1,3 milliard de francs CFA. Le préfet du Mbam-Ekim, Irénée Galimgon, a instruit que les 435 millions de francs CFA arrêtés comme recettes municipales soient investis pour l'amélioration des conditions de vie des populations. L'engagement a par la suite été pris par le maire Georges Marcel Mandom et l'ensemble des conseillers municipaux d'être à la hauteur des attentes placées en eux en 2020.
Dans la région du centre, les langues locales usitées pour plus d'impact sur les populations en ces temps de pandémie du coronavirus. C'est le cas de Lobo dans la région du centre où une caravane de sensibilisation passe le message en langue itone. C'est une initiative des jeunes volontaires dynamiques appuyée par l'exécutif communal de Lobo. Vincent de Paul Mebara de CRTV Centre signe la page magazine ce midi.
5 jeunes volontaires décident d'aller porter le message de la sensibilisation auprès des populations rurales de l'arrondissement de Lobo pour barrer la route au coronavirus. À l'aide d'un véhicule sonorisé, des tracts et des affiches, ils vont village après village. La sensibilisation est faite en langue étonne, dialecte de cette contrée. Des séances pratiques de lavage des mains et la distribution des morceaux de savon accompagnent en guise d'illustration cette sensibilisation de proximité. Une initiative des jeunes dynamiques soutenue par l'exécutif communal de Lobo.
Soucier des populations de Lobo qui sont pour la plupart vieux et toutes les couches de la population également représentées avons décidé de relayer ces informations afin que les populations soient prémunies des dangers que court le monde entier face à cette pandémie.
Au bout d'une journée pleine, ces volontaires se disent satisfaits de l'acte accompli.
L'ensemble, ça s'est bien passé. La population coopère, la population est attentive au mouvement de sensibilisation. On les voit sortir de partout, ils demandent les tracts, ils lisent, ils coopèrent en fait, en général.
Côté population rurale, les messages reçus resteront être appliqués à la lettre.
Pour éviter le coronavirus, on doit laver les mains à toute heure. On ne doit pas être rassemblés.
Comme plusieurs localités des zones rurales, Lobo enregistre des mouvements des populations venues de la ville en direction de leur village, exposant les uns les autres au risque de contamination au coronavirus. D'où cette campagne.
And that's the end of the Midday Bilingual News on the CRTV. For today, it is weekend. Don't forget to keep safe. COVID-19 is real. Nicole Doudou, see you on Monday.
Merci Emmanuela. Madame, Monsieur, au nom de toute l'équipe de production, merci d'avoir suivi. Bon début de week-end sur nos antennes. Nous vous laissons en compagnie de ce message de sensibilisation anti-Covid.
5 jeunes volontaires.
Il est essentiel que les mesures qui ont été indiquées soient absolument respectées par chacun de nous.
Lavez-vous régulièrement les mains à l'eau et au savon ou à l'aide d'un gel hydroalcoolique. Restez à au moins 1 mètre de distance des autres personnes, surtout si elles toussent, éternuent ou ont de la fièvre. Si vous avez de la fièvre, de la toux ou des difficultés à respirer, consultez un médecin.
TV News, ici, toute l'info.